Namaste, everyone. It's good to see so many familiar faces. Wow, I've got you on gallery mode, so I'm trying to see everybody in one shot. Welcome back from Asilomar. I hope you've had your break, a little bit of a break, and you're able to process some of the information that you had gone through the retreat. Like it was a lot of information. So now's the time to be able to ask what's been coming up. So before we begin, let's start off with a chant, and then we'll get right to it. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotir Gamaya Mrityur Ma Amritam Gamaya Avir Avir Maedhi Rudrayate Dakshinam Mukham Te Namam Pahi Nityam Te Namam Pahi Nityam Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. O Lord, guide us through and through, and ever protect us with thy loving presence. Om, peace, peace, peace to all beings everywhere. So wonderful to see so many people here. Today is a day that we're going to be able to process the things that you are learning, asking questions. So because Swamiji wants to keep this within the sort of 1 hour, well, it's going to do this to make it compact. If you want to ask a question, just raise your hand, go to your, I believe your reactions area, and just hit the raise hand. And what I love you, just ask one question, because there'll be so many people who want to ask questions. So just get to the point and ask your question. So let's go and invite Swami Sarvapriyananda. Maharaj, thank you so much for coming now. Maharaj, I know you're very busy. You were just in Alabama with about, I think there were about 400 people there, something like that, with 16 swamis and nuns and speakers. So you've been traveling quite around, and we're just glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I was actually just now in Amsterdam. Came back day before yesterday from Amsterdam.
So you were in Alabama, and then you went to Amsterdam, and then you
I
just
went to Amsterdam, yeah. I'm from Alabama, from Huntsville. I went to Detroit, from there to Chicago, and then from there to New York, and New York to Amsterdam, and then I'm back yesterday, a day before yesterday.
Will you be in New York for a little bit of while now, or?
Yes, for some time now. Now our center is going to reopen after the summer break this week.
Okay, wonderful. Well, it's good to have you back here. And Marge, let's just get right to it. So there's going to be plenty of questions here to ask. So Suni, why don't you go ahead and I'd love to know where you're zooming in from and state your question.
Namaste, both of you. I am from California in San Jose. And so Asilomar was just a 2-hour drive for me, which was lovely. My question is, Swamiji, I've been listening to so many of your videos, and recently I kind of homed in on one that you spoke about, the Vedantic epistemology of enlightenment. And you used the analogy of the solar eclipse, where the moon passes between the sun and the moon and casts a shadow on the earth. So what I understood was, of course, that the sun equals to Brahman and the moon is to the enlightened soul. Is that correct? And I think what you said was, let the world pass into darkness, then the sun will realize itself as the sun. So if the sun is Brahman, does Brahman need to realize itself? Does that mean there's meaning for our life as far as interacting somehow? And does the world really, could what's happening now be us, the world passing into darkness?
Yes. So that example, I heard it from a monk in Haridwar in India, and it was a very fine use of this example um, of the solar eclipse. So what happens in the solar eclipse is that we know that the moon passes between the earth and the sun, and for a while the disk of the moon, it obscures our view of the sun, so we don't get to see the sun. But what happens there is the sunlight by which we see the world at night, the sunlight gets reflected from the moon, and the moon illumines the world at night by moonlight. uh, so that example, it shows, it stands for our usual knowledge, our day-to-day knowledge when we are experiencing the world right now. For example, what is happening now? What's happening now is pure consciousness is shining from on the mind and being reflected from the mind, and through our senses experiencing the world. So imagine pure consciousness is like the sun, the mind is like the moon, and the world is the world. And so at night, what happens is the moonlight illumines the world. Yeah, but we know the moonlight is actually the sunlight. The sunlight falls on the moon and it illumines the world at night. Similarly, the mind, illumined by pure consciousness, the mind is equivalent to the moon. It experiences the world. That's our usual knowledge. Now, what about enlightenment? What about Brahma Jnana, the realization of Brahman? What happens there is the example of the solar eclipse is applicable. The moon passes between the earth and the sun, and the light coming from the sun, it comes onto the moon, and instead of illumining the earth, it's reflected back to the sun. Now, at that moment, it's not that the moonlight actually illumines the sun. That's silly, because first of all, the sun is shining with 1,000,000 times more light than the moon. Second, all the light of the moon is basically the light of the sun. It's the sunlight itself which is reflected from the moon. So this is the first thing that we take away from the example. Just like the moon does not illumine the sun, similarly, our mind actually does not illumine Atman or Brahman. The mind, it's beyond the mind. The mind cannot grasp or illumine Atman or Brahman the way the mind illumines the world. That's one. How is Atman or Brahman realized? Self-luminous. The sun shines. You don't need the moonlight to see the sun. You see the sun by the sunlight. The sun reveals itself. Pure consciousness reveals itself. However, at that moment, the moon is not illumining the earth the way the moon illumines the earth at night. A shadow of the moon falls on the earth. So at that moment of enlightenment, you might say that the earth is obscured. There will be a flash of realization where our experience of the world, of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, it's a good example of samadhi. I'll explain what samadhi is. Okay, so the answer to your question is the sun here stands for you, the real you, Atman or Brahman. And the moon stands for the mind, the usual condition of the moon illumining the earth at night. That's our usual experience of the world, our knowledge, usual knowledge. And the special condition which happens during the solar eclipse, that stands for trying to explain what happens at the moment of realization of samadhi. Don't stretch the example too far. I don't know if that answers your question. Where is Sunny?
Subir, next time, just keep the person there until the question is complete.
Yeah.
So, Marge, just to
Yes,
follow
I
up
can
on
see
that
Sunny.
really quick, is that the terminology. So when we talk about consciousness, is there just a way consciousness refers to pure consciousness, and then can we say then when it's reflected by the mind into the awareness of whatever it's experiencing, do we call that awareness? So do you try to make
No, none of that. None of that.
Okay.
This actually refers to, um, uh, pure consciousness, or Atman or Brahman is signified by the sun, and the moonlight, it signifies the reflected consciousness in the mind. So just the way we are experiencing it now. Imagine the earth at night, it's illumined by moonlight. So just like that, imagine our experience of the world Pure consciousness shining through the mind, experiencing the world. That's like moonlight illumining the earth. Now the question was, how is this different from enlightenment, the realization that I am the self? To explain that, the example of this solar eclipse was used. At that moment of samadhi, you don't experience the world, and the consciousness is no longer illumining the mind and being used to illumine the world like moonlight. Rather, it's streaming back towards the sun. Now, what does that mean? One thing it shows is, see, if you back up a little bit, the question which this example was trying to answer is, we read again and again in the Upanishads, in Vedanta, that it is beyond the mind, and the mind cannot grasp Atman or Brahman. At the same time, the Upanishads also say it is to be realized only by the mind. So now, how can you reconcile these two positions? One is, can you realize Brahman with the mind? Upanishad seems to be saying both things. Yes, you can. In fact, it says that only by the mind you can realize it. And second, it says, no, you cannot realize it by the mind. So the answer to this, the example, how it gives you the answer is, it's beautiful that way. How do you realize the Atman? The mind needs to be turned away from the world and focused on the Atman. Like what happens to the moonlight when it streams back to the sun during a solar eclipse. And yet, second, you cannot say that the mind actually realizes or grasps Atman or Brahman. Exactly like you cannot say, it's silly to say that the moonlight illumines the sun. That's a ridiculous statement, because the sun is shining with 1,000,000 times more light than the moon. And anyway, the light of the moon is also the sunlight itself. Yeah, in that sense.
Right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Maharaj. Revati, go ahead.
Thank you. Namaste, Swami. My name is Revati. I'm calling from Dallas, Texas, and thank you for both Asalomar and Huntsville. And I've been using both the conferences to understand my approach to bhakti in Advaita. In one speech, you said, once you establish a connection with the impersonal Brahman, spend the rest of your life establishing a personal connection with your Ishta Devata. Can you please help me understand this approach to bhakti? Is it very different from, say, Dvaita Bhakti or the other philosophies?
Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
very different from the Dvaita Bhakti. And the Dvaita systems, they totally deny the possibility of an impersonal Brahman. Some of them, at least Vishishta Dvaita, Dvaita Vedanta, they don't accept that it's possible to have a pure consciousness, an attributeless consciousness, consciousness without any gunas, nirguna Brahman. They deny such a thing is there, that when Advaita Vedanta speaks about pure consciousness, consciousness without any attributes, the Dvaita school, Vishishta Dvaita, Dvaita Vedanta, they will say no such thing is there. It's a complete misinterpretation of the Upanishads. And the only thing that there is the personal God, the pure consciousness with attributes, with all sorts of auspicious attributes, which is the God of religion. And that God of religion, only thing that you can do is to believe in this God of religion and to worship and love and devotion and surrender, have faith in God. That's the relationship you set up with the God of religion. In Advaita Vedanta, this is understood in two levels. At one level, which is called Gyeya Brahma, Brahma which is to be realized or known. Known in the sense that you realize, I am Brahman. That is the attributeless Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, pure consciousness. Also, Upasya Brahma, Brahman which is to be worshipped. The same pure consciousness with the attributes of omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence is called the God of religion, Ishvara, Bhagavan. Then you are a jiva. You are pure consciousness with one personality, with one body, mind. You are Revati then. If you are Revati, then that pure consciousness becomes Ishvara. If you are pure consciousness, then Ishvara is also pure consciousness. You can honestly say, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. But if you maintain yourself that I am this person, Revati, and that's it, then God also becomes personal. As you see yourself, so will you see God. Very beautifully said by Hanuman when Ramchandra asks him, what do you think of me? Hanuman says, I understand you in three ways. One is as this Hanuman personality. In that case, you are my master, I am your servant. Deha buddhya dasoham. As a body, as this body-mind personality, I am the servant, you are my lord. Jiva buddhya twadangshaka. As a sentient being, you are the whole, I am your part. And Atma buddhya tvamevaham. As pure consciousness, you and I are one Brahman, one limitless existence, consciousness place. So now notice the devotional aspect and the knowledge aspect are compatible. I may know that in reality, you and I are one absolute consciousness. In practice, in this body and mind, as I find myself, I am your servant, you're my Lord. I set up a devotional, personal relationship. This is the beauty of Advaita Bhakti. Notice that someone like Sri Ramakrishna, he realized the Advaita Brahman, that I am limitless consciousness. At the same time, all his life, before his realization and after his realization, till the very end of his life, he regarded God as Kali, as the mother, and I am the child. So that attitude he always had from the beginning till the end of his life. So it's compatible. Yes. Why is it compatible? You might say, how is it compatible? I am Brahm, and then why do I need to, worship God or believe in God? Well, yes, you're Brahman, but as Revati, you are also eating, walking, working, playing. You're doing all human things. What prevents you from worshipping and loving God? Nothing. As long as all human activities are possible, all human religious activities are also possible. In the knowledge that this is all one ocean of existence, consciousness, bliss.
Thank you. Aninda, go ahead.
Pranam Maharaj.
Namaskar.
So in Kathamrita, Thakur in multiple places recommends bhakti over Gyan in the Kali Yuga with our Annagata Prand. At other places, he also talks about Advaitic concepts, but with nuances like considering Shakar, Nirakar form at the same level. He also talks about the world being considered unreal as more of a dry philosophical concept and considers it to be a real manifestation. I have looked at the Vijnana Vedanta book from Ayan Maharaj in his book and all. But on a more practical level, as someone who is incorporating both the study of Advaita texts, like the classical Advaita texts, and also to someone to whom Thakur's words, especially Kathamrita, and resonates deeply, what is the best way to approach this practically without getting too academic?
The 4 yogas. Have a practice of devotion, meditation. Have a practice of service. Have a practice of self-inquiry. Who am I? And yeah, so these are four yogas. That's the practical way to do it.
Okay, Samraj.
Pranam Maharaj, I think you touched the subject quite a bit with the previous 2 questions. I have the similar question, so let me repeat it anyway. This book here, you have it was given in the Asilomar, and you often quote this first one: "Know yourself, and you shall then know God."
Yes.
That is the first one. Then I go to page 23, and Thakur is saying, what is the good of merely repeating the word Sivoham? It is only when one, by perfect meditation on the Lord, in the temple of one's heart, has lost all idea of self and realized the Lord Shiva within, that one is entitled to utter this sacred word, Shivoham. So long as this stage of realization is not reached, it is better to regard the Lord as the master and oneself as his humble servant. So,
Yes.
can you
Mhm.
sort of elaborate these 2 points?
No, it's superb, self-explanatory. First thing is he says, know yourself, and then you will know God. Notice he says, know yourself. He doesn't say just prattle shivoham, shivoham. He doesn't say that. He says you have to know yourself. So what does knowing yourself, where did he go?
I'm still here, but I think picture went
Subir,
up.
keep the hand
Yeah,
up.
don't lower your hand until it's over. That's why it goes away.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh, I didn't lower any hand.
there, I can see you.
Okay.
Yes. So, so what does it mean? What does knowing yourself mean? It's exactly as you read out. Knowing yourself means that I realize I am not this body and mind. I am a pure consciousness. That is, I am Shiva. When that becomes clear to you, then when you say Shivoham, it means something. Before that, it's just words. See, the whole thing is, Sri Ramakrishna says, know yourself, then you will know God. What is this knowing yourself? This knowing yourself is realizing I am not the body, I am not the mind. You see that. And then what am I? I am this awareness to which the body and mind are appearing. That awareness is Shiva. Then when you say, I am Shiva, it's a truth. Until that point, I am identified with this personality. And this personality, it is centered around the ego. Now, the ego, Sri Ramakrishna says, can have these two states. One is the ego of knowledge, one is the ego of ignorance. The ego of ignorance says, my money, my me, myself, I, myself, my family, my property, my ambitions in the world, that is the ego of ignorance, ego, which will lead you to samsara. Or the ego of knowledge, which says, I am the servant of the Lord. That's still the ego, that's still the person, but the person is now related to God. It is self-explanatory. This is exactly what you read, is exactly the commentary on that first line.
Thank you.
Dennis, go ahead.
Mute. Thank you, Swami Sarvapriyananda. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my question is about Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual biography. He was initiated by Bharavi Bhamani, and it seems like the conception of non-dualism that Tantra delineates is more comprehensive than the non-dualism that I find in the rest of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. It's puzzling to me. It seems as if as a person progresses there, the non-dualism would become more expansive. And I see, though, in the book that he tells aspirants over and over to renounce woman and gold. And I was just trying to understand, since he personally benefited from his relationships with the tantric priestess and Sri Sharada Devi, could you help me understand how why we renounce the manifest world as samsara instead of accepting it as part of divinity the way the tantras do? That's my question, please.
Yes. Yes. That's a good question. Now, when you accept the manifest world as part of divinity, as divine, in fact, there is only one divine reality. When we become enlightened, especially in the non-dual path, we will realize there is only one reality. Non-duality basically means that there is no second reality apart from Brahman or from God or Shakti, whatever you call it. Now, that means this world which we are experiencing, ourselves, our own bodies, and the world which we are living in, this world, that also is divine. And everything in it is divine. Now, at this point, why would he keep on saying, renounce woman and gold, renounce woman and gold? Well, the point is this, that to come to this realization that it is all divine, this is full enlightenment. To come to this realization, there are two movements. One is when you, as Sri Ramakrishna says, when you go up the stairs to the roof of the house. So you leave everything behind. It's not the ground floor, it's not the first floor, it's not the staircase, it's the roof of the house. But then what happens is when you see the roof of the house and then you look back and see whatever you had left behind, that's also made of the same material as the roof of the house. So then your enlightenment is complete. There is an inward movement and there is an outward movement. As the saying goes, when you have reached the top of the mountain, your journey is not yet complete. So it's only half done. You have to come down the mountain on the other side also. Your journey is not just going away. You have to come back also. All right. But that is not possible unless you do go away. If you do not step back from samsara, then the realization, going to the roof of the house will not be possible. The vision of God, the vision of these divine reality will not come to us if we are enmeshed in samsara. And the two things which the two real, the strongest anchors, the roots which are deepest in samsara are lust and greed.
Anger.
Greed, lust and greed. So the anger is just the flip side of these. It's only when lust and greed are obstructed, it immediately flips into anger. But they are, all of it is rooted in lust and greed. So lust, Sri Ramakrishna calls kamini, which is that is when you're talking to men, and so this passionate, lustful desire for the female form. And he would say exactly the opposite to women and tell them to be careful about their relations with men. And greed, this acquisition. Just look around you, the whole of samsara. There are only these two things which are propelling samsara. These are at the very root. You cut at this root, the rest of spiritual life becomes much easier. Now, when you rise to the top, when you rise to the roof of the house and you find God, you find the divinity, then you look back upon the world, everything, including wealth, even the Upanishads go so far as to say sexual activity also, they see the divinity in the same act, except that now one is no longer a slave to these. One has found the truth, and one is centered in the truth, and then one looks upon the entire universe as a play of the Divine Mother. But that's not possible from the very beginning. In the beginning, if you do not instruct the student to renounce, to give up lust and gold, this lust and greed, the student will just remain where they are. They will not progress one little bit in spiritual life at all. It will just set up a tremendous conflict within the student. They'll remain. Sri Ramakrishna talks about the three drunkards, three friends who were going home after a night of revelry. Can we mute everybody?
I don't know how to mute myself. I think I'm the one who's making noise. Could some?
No, I think, is there some noise in the background? I don't know.
I'm looking to see. I don't.
I think it's all right.
Yes,
It's all right.
yes, go ahead, Maj.
Yeah. So the three friends, after a night of revelry, they're going home and they go and sit in a boat in the dark and start rowing the boat. And in the next morning, they find they are exactly where they started because they'd forgotten to untie the rope they anchored. The boat was anchored to the shore. And that's what happens in spiritual life. And the anchor is this lust and greed. This anchors us to the world. Remove that, spiritual progress is fast. Yeah. Oh, I must add here, Mary Louise Burke, she asks a question to Swami Ashokanandaji, and she says, the sexuality, lust, it's a problem, it's mostly a men's problem. Remember, this was in the 1950s. So she's asking Swami Ashokananda, it's mostly a men's problem. It's right, it's not something that women have to contend with. And Swami Ashokananda immediately corrects her. He says, no, it is equally a problem for men and women. In the case of women, it takes a different form. It takes the form of nest building. He uses the words nest building. It's a much more diffuse way, but the same energy is spent into making a house and raising a family. But it's the same tremendous energy. So in both cases, one needs to step back. Otherwise, it's just samsara.
Thank you. Thank you, Swamiji. Next, Espella.
And hello, Swami. I'm Suresh Balani. That's a short. My question is on this reflected consciousness. Our awareness right now that we are aware, whatever we are experiencing, is based on reflected consciousness. Though that's not our true nature. Our true nature is a real consciousness. And you had mentioned previous answers you've given, like when we fall asleep, we are no longer aware because our mind is no longer acting, so we don't have the reflection of consciousness. So when somebody realizes is the true awareness, even in sleep, he's aware of himself. And the
No,
question is, how
it's
do you go?
not. Remember that awareness, realization that I am that, it does not depend on the mind. So the realization I am Brahman is not like I have read that I am Brahman, or I've thought that I am Brahman, or I've meditated that I am Brahman, all of which are mental. These are mental activities. And the moment the mind stops acting, they are gone. So it's not like that. The realization that I am Brahman, as I said, like the sun. So the sun remains shining regardless of whether the moon is a full moon or it is a new moon. New moon is when moon is not available in the night sky. Full moon is when the moon is fully luminous and available and illumining the world in the night sky. But regardless of that, the sun is shining. So when you realize I am Brahman, you're always limitless consciousness, and it do not depend on the mind for that realization. Now, the question is the enlightened one aware in deep sleep? That was the question. So Swami Turiyanandaji was asked this, do you sleep? And he says, yes, I sleep, but not quite like you. So we have to leave it at that. Until we realize that, we will not be able to make that distinction. But it's an unimportant question. It's like asking the sun, are you shining during the new moon night, or is it that you're shining only during full moon night? The sun will say, what, new moon, full moon, quarter moon, whatever it is, has nothing to do with it. I am limitlessly shining all the time.
But my awareness currently is based on my mind, unfortunately.
No, it is not.
realize-
No, wait. That is the interesting thing. Do you think the moon's light is based on the moon?
Of course not.
Originally it is based on pure consciousness, and on the sun. The sunlight is reflected from the moon. So even when you have moonlight, it is basically the sunlight. And remember, you are not the moon, you are the sun. So right now, the sunlight does not know itself. The only thing that is obvious is the moon in the night sky. The earth is illumined by moonlight, and the moon is obvious in the night sky. That's our condition right now. But the sun, you are the sun. You're not the moon, you're not the earth. You are pure consciousness.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ferry, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Swami. My name is Ferry Singer. I'm from Toronto, Canada. I have two questions. Sorry about that. The first one is when I see emotions that is caused by my by the gap between the reality and my expectation. What is, in your opinion, what is a very powerful practical mantra that maybe I can use or others can use to never stick our hands in that mess and stay centered in the seat of consciousness? A second question is it possible to get some help with initiation online with swamis from a swami from another center if a swami is not available in my area? Thank you.
The second one is easier. A Swami is fortunately very much available in your area in Toronto. There's the Vedanta Society of Toronto. So you can approach the Swami there and approach him for initiation in the Vedanta Society of Toronto. The first one, it's a very good question about emotions. Most people, large numbers of people, are sidetracked by these emotions. They really are the sign of these unresolved emotions are the sign of an unprepared mind. Most of our problems when we're dealing with, when you come to spiritual life, come to Vedanta, they're not Vedantic problems, they're not spiritual problems. They're just a reflection of our unresolved emotions when we are struggling with the world, with other people, with our own desires and complexes. Spirituality can help. So, first is, you are not your emotions. You are the witness of all these thoughts, emotions, everything is appearing and disappearing in you, the consciousness. You are consciousness. You are not the emotions themselves. You exist as consciousness prior to the emotions. You exist as consciousness after the emotions subside. And even when the emotions are raging, at that time also, you are consciousness. Because of you, that's why the emotions are available. That's why you are able to experience the emotions. So you are not a slave to the emotions. The emotions depend on you for their presence and their activity and their subsiding. So you are free of the emotions as pure consciousness. Second, the emotions are fed by attention. So attention is a very important thing. Where am I putting my attention? Put your attention on God, put your attention on work, put your attention on the mantra, put your attention on the ritual, put your attention on action, doing stuff. And that way, the emotions will be starved of attention. Without attention, the emotions will become weaker. They subside much more easily. We feed emotions endlessly by becoming. You put it very beautifully that I don't want to put my hand into that mess. You're absolutely right. That's what happens. People put their hands into the mess and then they're caught in that whirlpool. They're sucked into it. Action, selfless action is a very good, is very powerful tool in your arsenal. If you can do stuff for other people and not wait for something in return, it's a very good way of resolving these unresolved emotions. Whatever, personal or to do with other people, whatever it is, you can overcome them, you can resolve them, sublimate them when we are doing something for others without expectation. Especially if the others are not your own family with, who can trigger you, not with those people whom you hardly know, people who are impersonal to you. They just need your help, you go out and help them. Very good.
Okay, very nice. Karthik and Kavita.
Pranam Swamiji. This is
Namaste.
Kavita from Southern California. So after the Asilomar retreat, I've been following your Bhagavad Gita lectures. And in one of the lectures, somebody asked you about initiation, and you said that if you already have a family mantra that you've been using, then you don't need to go and get initiated and get another mantra. Did I understand that correctly? And if yes, then is the initiation mantra any more powerful than the family mantra? I'm just labeling them.
No, all of them are names of God. So they're all powerful. And therefore, if you have a tradition, it's best to do that one thing consistently for a long period of time instead of switching or getting another mantra. However, if you do feel attracted to this particular tradition, the Ramakrishna Vivekananda tradition, if you feel that I would need formal initiation from a guru and to start my own practice of mantra, japa, and meditation, in that case, you are welcome to take initiation. You have to approach the guru, the Swami, whom you approach for mantra diksha, and ask the Swami. They will give you the same answer. They will tell you that if you have been doing something for a long time, then keep on doing that. And after that, if you insist, no, I want a mantra in this tradition, and that will become my Ishta mantra. So in that case, the Swami may, depending on that particular Swami, may initiate you into a new mantra. So my straight answer to you is, if you have a mantra which you are repeating, please go on doing that. Why look for another mantra?
Okay, thank you.
Shaku?
Yeah, Namaste Swamiji. I'm Shakuntala from Houston. My question is regarding the Jivan Mukta versus Videha Mukta.
Mhm.
Am I wrong in understanding that a Advaitic self-realization leads to Jivan Mukti versus other methods lead to Videha Mukti? Can you tell me the difference between them?
Yes, that is true. Advaita Vedanta, the goal is Jivan Mukti. One gets freedom here and now, in this life, while living in the body. In contrast, some, not all, some other systems, especially the devotional systems, they claim that perfection is not possible here in this world. As long as you're embodied, you need to die and go to heaven in whichever form, and then you live in the proximity of God, and that is a perfect state of freedom. Um, so after the death of the body, Advaita Vedanta says freedom and bondage, they all depend upon knowledge and ignorance. As long as we are ignorant of our real nature, we are in bondage, we are samsari. When the moment we get realization, we realize who we truly are, you're free. Doesn't matter if the body is there or the body is not there. If the body is there, you're Jivan Mukta. One day the body will die and you will be termed Videha Mukta, the bodiless liberation. Notice, from your perspective, from the perspective of the enlightened one, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference. You don't regard yourself as a body anyway. When you become enlightened, you realize you are pure consciousness. The body is there, well and good. If the body disappears, fine. It makes no difference to you. You are limitless existence, consciousness, bliss, with the body, without the body. Why should the body make so much of a difference anyway? Every day in the night, we fall asleep and we dream. And when our dreams, this particular body is not part of our dreams. It's sleeping on the bed and we have no experience of it. We are perfectly fine. We go on with our dreams. Then we go into deep sleep. Dreams also cease. There's no experience of any kind of body. There's just that uniform blankness. There also we are perfectly fine. Then we come back and experience this body. So from your inner phenomenological states, your body is of secondary importance.
So Videha Mukta is just a term to say
you remain as Brahman. Videha Mukta just it signifies the enlightened one after the death of the body. So there is a period of Jivan Mukti, freedom in the body, and then there is Videha Mukti, freedom after the dropping of the body. However, I must add what one monk said. I read this, I didn't hear it directly. He was a great teacher of Vedanta in Vrindavan. Actually, yes, in Vrindavan. But he was a non-dual teacher. He was known as Uriya Baba because he was from Orissa. And someone asked him, what should we aim at, this Jivan Mukti or Videha Mukti? And then he says, dono hi amangal hai, dono ko hi chhod dijiye. Both of these are inauspicious. Drop both of them. You see, they are great in order to inspire you to struggle for realization. But from your perspective as Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss, there's nothing more to be struggled for. There is that I have achieved Jivan Mukti, now I have to achieve Videha Mukti, nothing like that. They are set as goalposts for us to attain while we are moving towards enlightenment.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Richard, go ahead.
Pranam Swami. I'm Richard from San Diego.
Hello, Richard.
Love seeing you on the last two retreats in Asilomar. So it's great to see you again. Thank you for taking our questions. I've understood that there's the sleeping state, waking, dream, and then Turiya, the fourth state. But is there a fifth state called the absolute or Parabrahman or awareness? And is that beyond consciousness? And then quickly, my second question is, how do we find the earnestness to get over lust and greed? Where does that come from? And how do we bring that when those vrittis come and try to attack us and take us off the path?
Yes. The first one, so to the fourth one, Turiya is actually not a state. It is the reality. So when you say a state, when we speak about a state, waking, dreaming, sleeping, these are states. States of what? The states of the reality. What is the reality? The Turiya. It's only in relation to the waking, dreaming, and sleeping that we talk about the fourth or Turiya. The word Turiya means four, but what it actually signifies is that it isn't a fourth state. It is the reality which assumes these three states. One good way of understanding this is gold can be made into three kinds, say multiple kinds of ornaments, a bracelet, a necklace, a ring. Now, gold is not one more, a fourth kind of ornament. Gold is the fourth only in the sense that it is the reality, the substance, which can sometimes you can make it into a necklace, you can melt it and make it into a bracelet, you can melt it and make it into a ring. But gold itself is not another new kind of ornament. Similarly, Turiya is not a new kind of state of consciousness. Waking, dreaming, deep sleep are states. So therefore, Turiya is the reality which appears as these three states. The reality is in and through these three states, just like gold is in and through these ornaments. It is wherever the ornaments are there gold is. But gold is not stuck to any kind of ornament. Similarly, Turiya is not stuck to any kind of states. States come and go. Turiya is the same. However, there are texts, not in the Mandukya, there are other texts which talk about a Turiyatita, so that which is beyond the Turiya. These are hair-splitting distinctions. You can make a distinction. So, for example, these three states with respect to the Turiya, waking, dreaming, deep sleep, 1, 2, 3, and with respect to these three, Turiya is the fourth. But if you remove these states and then you only one, you don't talk about 1, 2, 3. It's the same Turiya will be called the Turiyatita then, when Turiyatita means beyond the Turiya, because the number 4 does not apply there anymore. You have forgotten about waking, dreaming, sleeping. You're just looking at awareness itself or consciousness itself. So this search for an absolute beyond the Turiya, this is, I think, to my way of thinking, it's an unnecessary distinction. I know there are schools of non-duality which differ from classical Advaita Vedanta, which talk about Turiyatita, but it's unnecessary. Then the second question you asked about the sincerity to overcome the urges of lust and greed, that is a much more serious question, much more tremendously practical question. And I have no good answers. If it were easy, then you would have many more, much more spiritual people and many more of those. We are all on the path, and the way to overcome that is all 4 yogas offer advice on how to overcome, transcend that. The path of Jnana Yoga tells us you consider it. What does it do for you and what does it deprive you of? Indulgence in lust and greed, what do you get from it and what does it steal away from you? You'll see it's a tremendously losing proposition. It's a great scam, let us say, which nature plays on us to keep us, for nature's own purpose, keep us involved in samsara, in prakriti, in nature. From the path of meditation, notice the strong urges towards acquisition, expanding your possessions, and the passions of the body makes meditation utterly impossible. It's only when we seriously try to meditate, we will see that you cannot go any deeper. Sri Ramakrishna says there is this, there was a mongoose, and mongoose has a big bushy tail, and there were these mischievous kids in the village who tied a big brick to its tail. And now every time the mongoose starts to jump through a hole, go to cross a hole in the wall, it's pulled back by the weight of its tail, and it comes it comes back again. It can't jump because the weight of the brick pulls it down. And we are pulled. That's the brick which pulls us down. That's why we cannot attain to samadhi. That's why we cannot retain deep meditative states. Then devotion is not possible. So lust and greed are the same energies which the person, the devotee who loves God, the same energies which the devotee wants to channelize towards God. Those are the same energies which are lost in lust and greed. Therefore, you'll see devotion will become mechanical. They'll be lifeless because the life has been sucked out of them because of our tremendous pull towards the world. And karma yoga, this lust and greed, what it does is it makes us very selfish, tremendously selfish. It roots us in this single self, this little body, mind, personality. All spiritual paths become blocked because of this. That's why you will see the saints in all traditions, every tradition. Think about the lives of the Christian mystics, the saints, how they struggled mightily against the desires of the flesh. So this struggle we have to go through. At one point, it becomes easier. When one rises above it, one gets some peace, some grace, and rises above it, feels, then we feel the joy of this purity. Then um, the the pleasures of acquisition or passion, they seem very small and they cannot bind us down anymore. Then the upward pull becomes much stronger. We have to stick to it. We have to stick to it. There is no other shortcut. But by the grace of God, by the grace of the Guru, it will be possible for all of us to do it. Never give up.
Thank you. Maharaj, regarding this Tritita, in regards to a Vijnani, where does he fit within this model? Where he or she fit within this model? Within the three states, and you have Turiya. So a Vijnani is one who's experiencing the divine in the world. How do you see the Vijnani in that model?
There is a yes. So the Vijnani has realized that I am the Turiya, I am Brahman. And then the Vijnani does not dismiss the waking, dreaming, deep sleep. So Ramakrishna says the Jnani dismisses the waking, dreaming, and deep sleep and says, I am the witness consciousness, I am Brahman or I am Turiya. And he says, but I don't do that. I take all of it. In Bengali, he says, আমি সব লই. I take the waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, which means the physical, subtle, and causal states. All three he accepts as what? As the same Turiya, the play of the same existence consciousness bliss. So uh, the Vijnani is comfortable. The Vijnani is comfortable in the world, in devotion, in action, with people, without people, in every possible, with eyes open, with eyes closed, in the midst of society, in utter retirement, in every possible circumstance, the Vijnani is comfortable because for the Vijnani, it is the same reality. It is the same divinity everywhere, with eyes open and eyes closed. So the Vijnani does not say that I have to retreat into meditation. The Vijnani does not say that I have to dismiss everything as false and only Brahman as real. No. The Vijnani takes the absolute as real and the manifestation also as real. I think the Vijnani would be full of joy in the manifestation.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Graham?
Yes.
Pranam Swamiji, thank you very much for your time and nice to see you again. Appreciate that. My name is Graham. I'm from Orange County in Southern California. And I have another question related to sleep and deep sleep. And I'm hoping you could maybe just correct my thinking on what I'm about to say here. So, for example, when I go to bed and I turn out the light and the clock next to the bed reads, let's say 10 p.m. And then I suddenly find myself coming back into the waking state and I look at the clock and it's maybe reading 4 a.m. or something. In the seed state, in deep sleep, everything is withdrawn into that seed state. And there's no time in deep sleep. So the concept of time then is this correct that that's withdrawn into the seed state as well? Otherwise, if time was happening in the background, then that would be more like a Shrishti Drishti type Veda approach, wouldn't it? Is that correct?
That's right. So you can look at it in different ways. When I go to sleep, it's 10 p.m. When I wake up, it's 4 a.m. Now, that would mean that the world was going on, time was flowing, and I was just that I was asleep and I did not experience time. So, and when I wake up, I realize I come back into this world and I realize it's 4 a.m. and 6 hours have passed, and that's perfectly all right. Um, but that is the model of Srishti Drishti Vada. The world has been created and I'm thrust into this world. The world moves according to its own laws, and I am thrust into this world. But remember, it is this much is true that when this much is true that from your inner perspective, your own phenomenological perspective, time did not flow at that time. When you were in deep sleep, you did not have the experience of the passage of time. You have to only look at your own inner experience to say, I did not experience the passage of time. So it's true. From phenomenologically speaking, from your personal experience, time was withdrawn. Space and time were both withdrawn. You did not experience space, you did not experience time. So that's one model. The other model is Drishti Srishti Vada, where it is you experience time when you're in this world, and when you fall asleep, this world together with its space and time, they disappear. And it is again presented to you when what you call waking up. So why does it say it was 10 p.m. at that time? It is 4 a.m. now. Well, that's just the display itself. You don't have to say that it existed when I was not seeing it and time was passing. No, the display, the last time you saw the display, it was 10 p.m. Now the display entirely disappeared. Some dream displays came on, then everything was switched off. Then again, another display has come up, which is showing you a world where the time is 4 a.m. So from your perspective, you are consciousness. That's all that matters. And the state of the world, if you feel that there is a world apart from me, Srishti Drishti is the model for you. If you feel all I call the world is a display in consciousness, Drishti Srishti is the model for you. What is the truth? The truth is neither Srishti Drishti nor Drishti Srishti. The truth is you are Brahman, your consciousness. Yes.
Thank you. Viva and Indranil?
Namaste, Maharaj.
Namaskar.
Thank you so much for patiently and beautifully answering all our questions. So my question is very simple, which is a relationship between Brahman and Ishvara. So as I understand from Advaitic standpoint, Ishvara is nothing but Brahman plus Maya, Brahman encased in Maya. And please correct me if I'm mistaken.
It's exactly that. Ishvara is Brahman.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. So when you say, at least from Advaita standpoint, Ishvara is Brahman plus Maya. So, but we come across statements like, as you said, Brahman is nothing but Ishvara, or Ishvara is nothing but Brahman. Is that from Paramatrika
No,
standpoint?
it's not true that Brahman is nothing but Ishvara. Ishvara is nothing but Brahman.
It's nothing but Brahman, yes.
Yes.
So is that from the Paramatrika standpoint, or is it even from our standpoint? Or we can say that just like our reality is Brahman, yes, I understand Ishvara's reality is Brahman. But when you
Yes,
say Ishwar,
just like you say, Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. Brahman is real,
yes.
the world is an appearance, and you, the sentient being, you are none other than Brahman. If you are none other than Brahman, what is Ishvara? Ishvara is also none other than Brahman.
Okay, so it's not about the standpoint. It's just from the ultimate reality.
Yeah, so ultimate reality, if you say ultimate reality, it is Brahman. And from the Vyavaharika standpoint, you can call it Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagat. Ishvara, Jiva, and Jagat are the same Brahman from in a transactional perspective.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes. Remember, when you're talking about the transactional perspective, the ultimate reality is right there. When an actor puts on the dress of its character, say an actor is putting on the dress of an emperor and going out on a Broadway play and acting. So it's an emperor, no doubt. But at the same time, where is the actor? Right there. That emperor is the actor. So the Paramarthika Brahman is always present. And transactionally, you can dress it up as Ishvara and the Jagat and Jiva, but Brahman is always present.
Yes. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have 3 more questions. Maharaj, I hope that's okay. So go ahead, Chittapadya, go ahead.
Good morning, Maharaj from New Delhi, India, and
Namaste.
my Shashtanga Pranam. So I have just to ask small questions which can be answered in possibly one shot. What is realization means? It is a realization of the subtle body because I am Brahman myself, so I
Mm.
don't have to realize anything. So is it the subtle body which needs to be liberated? That is one
Mm.
thing. And
Wait,
whether
wait.
we
Step by
realize
step,
or we
step by step,
experience
step
it.
by step, one by one. The so what is realization? Realization is the realization I am Brahman. But probably your question is, if I'm not wrong, your question is where does the realization happen or whose is the realization? Is that your question?
Yes.
Yes. It is the realization of the jiva. The jiva realizes I am not jiva, I am Brahman. And where does that realization happen? It happens in the subtle body, in the sukshma sharira. In the mind is required for that realization.
Maharaj, it is realization or we experience it?
Depends on what kind of realization you're talking about. There are multiple yogic realizations which are special experiences, mystical experiences, various kinds of samadhis. So there your language is correct. We have special experiences. But this realization in Advaita Vedanta, better to call it realization because ultimately it is available in every experience. Pratibodha Viditam Matam. It's not that only in one Nirvikalpa Samadhi Brahman, I am Brahman is realized and then everything else is waking, dreaming, sleeping. No. For the enlightened one who realizes I am Brahman, it is something available at all the time. I am Brahman, it becomes knowledge. Like you are Mr. Chattopadhyay. Now, is Mr. Chattopadhyay a realization or an experience? In all your experience, you are Mr. Chattopadhyay, in whatever your experience is. So it is something deeper than any particular experience.
And a small question is that our ritualistic prayers are to remove the screen of Maya. That's it.
Yes, yes.
That is
All sadhana is for to remove the screen of Maya. All sadhana.
Thank you. Raj, go ahead.
Namaste Maharaj.
Namaste.
Happy Navratri and happy Durga Puja. Two quick questions regarding Mandukya Karika and Avasatre Vichara. In that framework, waking and dream are treated at the same level as two states amongst three states that appear of mind, right? So question A is, when I think about it, when the waker thinks about it, the waker can remember the dream, but the dream cannot remember the waker, though. That is one divot that I see in that argument. I'll just say the second one as well in the interest of time. In the second one, when you went through the explanation of the syllogisms, the Drishyatvad syllogism and so on, the argument is that the dream, it's used, the dream is subservient to the waking in the example, right? Just like in a dream. What we are trying to show is that the dream is at the same level as the waking, but the example that is used is dream is subservient to waking. These two have bothered me a bit.
The question is not clear. The first one is, if I understand clearly what you're trying to say is that there is a dissimilarity between the waking and the dreaming, because when you wake up, you remember the dream and the dreamer, but in the dream, the waker and the waking experience is not remembered.
That's correct.
That's true, because then you have three levels of reality. One is, of course, the paramarthik, then there is the vyavaharik, then there is the pratibhasik. So the waking is the vyavaharik reality, transactional reality, and the dream is the pratibhasik or illusory reality. Illusory reality is one further level of appearance above the transactional reality. The absolute reality is Brahman, and it appears as the transactional reality, vyavahara, our waking state, and that further becomes the dream state, which is a product of the individual mind. And therefore, when you wake up from the dream, you come back to the waking state and you remember the dream state. But to wake up from the waking, you have to go to the paramarthik state, that I am Brahman. Then you will remember the waking state also, that was also an appearance.
So we are treating them as one nested within the other versus the
Yes.
two at the
So
same level.
that is true. So that is not, but that is, as you said, it's not the framework of the Mandukya. The
Right.
Mandukya Karika, it treats the waking and the dreaming at the same level, right? So from that perspective, the remembering that I was dreaming at that time is inconsequential. All that they care about is the dreaming is presented to consciousness, waking is presented to consciousness. In both cases, I am consciousness illumining waking and dreaming. That is the important thing. In that sense, they are both equal.
Okay.
Do you see? In one, you are dreaming, then you come down from the dream to the waking state, which is the ground of the dream. And there you go on. So there you cannot say that the dream and the waking are the same. The dream is a further illusion based on the waking. But when you treat both as equal, dreaming and waking both as equal, how are they equal? They are both presentations or appearances to you, the consciousness. Dreaming, I, the consciousness, experience the dream world. Waking, I, the consciousness, am experiencing the waking world. So there are both two kinds of dreams.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's same but different. Maybe it's a way to think about it. Okay.
No, in one sense, in the Drishti Srishtivada or in Gaudapada's perspective, he will say that waking and dreaming are both presentations to consciousness. There are two kinds of dreams. One is the dream, one is the waking dream. There are only two states of consciousness, dream and sleeping. Deep sleep is sleep, and waking and dreaming are both dreams. Then what is waking up really? Waking up really is realizing I am consciousness.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, there's one more question. I
Final
think.
question. Go ahead. Tanvi?
Pranam Swamiji, it's so nice of you to be with us again.
Namaste.
Namaste. I'm in the Bay Area, California. So I understand about all the senses as the interface to experience the world. The mind is where I get tangled up. We need, even when we meditate and go inwards, we're not really using our senses, but we need our mind to meditate, to go inwards. So where does the mind stop as a tool?
It stops as a tool. The
But
mind is a tool.
I need my mind to be aware. So I get tangled up there.
Yeah, it stops where you begin. You are awareness. The mind is appearing to you, in you. Suppose the mind does not appear. Then you remain still as awareness without a mind. When the mind does appear, you remain as awareness in which a mind is appearing. When you say, I need the mind, you said, we need the mind, I need the mind. Who is saying that? Are you saying it, or is the mind saying it? It is the mind which is saying it. If it were you saying it, you would feel that lack in deep sleep also. You don't feel any lack in deep sleep. In deep sleep, you don't feel that, yeah, I slept well, but I really, really missed the mind. You don't feel that at all. So it's the mischievous mind which says, you need me, please keep me around. No, I don't need you. The mind needs you. You don't need the mind.
But
The
to
mind,
experience.
Yeah, to experience the world, you need the mind. To think, you need the mind. So these are instruments. These are wonderful things that the mind can do for you. However, the mind is also, it's a great servant, but it's a very terrible master. So the mind is trying to convince you, you need me to experience the world, you need me to think. Very well and good. To go from point A to point B, I need the car. But I am not tied to the car. I can exist very well without the car. Similarly, I can exist very well without thinking. I can indeed exist very well without experiencing the world also. You do. In deep sleep, you do. You're perfectly all right. This thing which is telling you, no, in deep sleep is no good. It's just blank. It's boring. It's blank. It's boring from whose perspective? Not your perspective. It's blank. It's boring from the mind's perspective. Yes. The mind is trying to get you hooked to it, that you really, really need me. No, You don't need the mind needs you. If you don't give consciousness to the mind will not be illumined. Its existence, its awareness, all are borrowed from you.
So the deep sleep blankness, is it equal to the moments of blankness in meditation?
True, it is.
They're equal and the mind is not involved?
It is similar, not involved in the sense in deep sleep and in meditation, the mind is shut down. It's not that the mind is not there, it's shut down. It is stilled. It is stilled. Now that there's a difference. Be careful when you say they are the same. In deep sleep, the mind is shut down, covered by ignorance. In meditation, the mind is not covered by ignorance. The mind is very alert and still. If it becomes covered with ignorance, it means your meditation has failed and you have fallen asleep. If you're truly meditating, you'll be very alert, very sattvic, but the mind will be free of thought. So it's a gap in thinking. The mind remains still. It's like a polished mirror reflecting awareness only, bare awareness. And that's very different from sleeping.
Right. Thank you. That's a very, very satisfactory answer.
Don't be fooled by the mind. That's the takeaway. You are perfectly fine. It is the mind which wants to convince you that you need me. Please keep me around. You'll say, yeah, you can stay around, but it's not that I need you. You need me. You need me for existence. You need me for consciousness. For everything, the mind needs you. You don't need the mind at all. And remember, the dichotomy we have created between ourselves and the mind, consciousness and the mind, is only for realizing that I am consciousness. But after you realize I am consciousness, then you own up the mind also. I, the consciousness, am appearing as the mind. I, the consciousness, am appearing as the body and as the world. Atman or Brahman is appearing as the physical world. It's appearing as the subtle mind. And it's appearing as the causal Maya also. All of it is me. It's not that I depend on the world or the senses or the mind. Rather, the world, the senses, and the mind, they all depend on me. And they are all me. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Swamiji. Really, thank you. As you can see, Swamiji's been traveling a great deal, and so I think he needs his rest. We have to let him go to maybe his second or third state to let him rest again. And so, all right. Thank you, Swamiji. Thank you, everyone. We'll close up with the chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Rama Krishna Arpanamastu.